So as you hear now, like turn left.
Yeah.
This guy had it.
Was turn left.
Yeah, this guy had it. He was like, oh, and just hammers the gas and blows past like two buggies.
It's the Scott and Alley Not For Air podcast. The rules are gone. The shirt is untucked. Here's Scott and Alley.
Wow, welcome to the Scott and Alley Not For Air podcast. Alley, this I feel is going to be a podcast of discoveries and maybe some good advice.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's start with the thing from the show, because sometimes we'll say that we'll take something from the show and we extend it on the podcast. It actually doesn't happen too often. Usually we wrap it up with a little bow on the show and we're done, and the podcast just sits as the podcast.
Yeah.
But something happened on the show, and I was actually talking about it to another coworker a second ago when, Scott, you were on a phone call here in the studio, and I went out and asked him about it. On the show, we were talking about what you wear when you go to court. And do you dress up? Do you not dress up? What do you do? So I had asked our one coworker, and he said, you absolutely dress up. That was his answer.
That's correct.
You and I agreed on that too.
Yeah. Listen, not that I need any more time in court unless I'm becoming an officer of the court. I'm going to leave that to them to be able to go as much as they want to. That is not the place of business I want to hang out at.
You didn't like your time in court?
It's even as a juror, you're just like, oh boy, there is just a weird anxiousness around that, But I say this in the sense of anytime I've ever had to go to court for whatever the reason is, and it's not some big criminal past or anything like that, could have been a traffic ticket, whatever the case may be.
Oh yeah, I've gotten cell phone tickets before.
I always dress up. I mean, maybe it's not a full suit. I'll leave that to the attorney, but I'm going to have a tie. I'm going to have a nice shirt, nice pants, nice shoes on, and I'm going to go in there with respect to the court. Now, I look at it like this. I'm like, it may not necessarily be the outcome that I'm actually hoping for, but I can tell you this. The court, I always feel, will recognize that I look a certain way, like, oh, you are walking in respecting what we do here and honoring that.
And that's what I think too. When I'd asked our coworker, he gave the exact same answer. He goes, I'm at least wearing a tie, which surprised me. I thought he was going to be the polo guy because he wears polos to work every single day. And he said, no, I'm at least going to wear a tie. And he thinks it has helped him in one of his cases. So one of the things that I don't remember what his ticket was for or what he was going to court for. But one of the things was he worked at a previous radio station, and he said that he knew that he was going to be getting a call back on whatever the situation was. So he left his work number. Then he went and changed his voicemail to make it cater to the event he was doing. So it was a big event called Speedy Fest. And he knows that it's very community oriented and a lot of people are really involved with it. So his message said, hey, if I don't get back to you right away, I'm very busy. I'm getting ready for Speedy Fest, blah, blah, blah. And he said it ended up working out, he feels like, in his favor because they called him and left a voicemail and said what they needed to say. And he said, I think the reason why the outcome wasn't in my favor was because I was basically saying in my voicemail, I do community service already.
Right.
I care about this.
Oh, he was up for community service.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. We're speculating.
We're totally speculating. But he said that he thinks that's what helped him.
Oh, maybe. That could have very well have been the case. I don't know. I mean, that's more of what the result of something could have been. The result of a ruling could have been, well, you got to do community service, but then, they're involved. That being said, though, this stemmed off. Now, okay, I've got a couple more years on me. So somewhere along the line, I had learned you go to a court setting dressed appropriately. Mm-hmm. We had talked to our young producer, who's all of 19, almost 20. Or is he 20 yet? Anyway.
No, not till January.
We had asked him this question on the air, and we said, if you have to go to court, how are you dressing? And he goes, I'm going to wear a polo and a nice pair of Dickies, and that's all they're getting out of me. And
he's got a little bit of hostility in that answer, though.
It did. There was a little energy that was there with that. Now, the funny part about it is, okay, maybe it's just his age. likelihood is if he ever has to go in, it's probably, okay, you ran a stop sign or something. Probably a traffic ticket. This kid's great. Like, you're never gonna read about him in the headlines going, oh, he held up a convenience store. That's not who he is. No. But look, people, sometime in your life, you're going to end up in a traffic court situation, and I don't care. Still dress up, look the part, right?
I do.
Yeah. So, and I asked him, I said, even if it was something fairly important beyond a speeding ticket, he goes, you're getting Dickies out of me and a polo shirt. That's it. He was passionate about it.
And he's like, I'm not dressing up for them, blah, blah, blah. I think that where he has a blurred line is maybe he doesn't really have respect. And I'm this is speculation too, because our producer is not sitting with us in this room. I think
we're not talking behind his back. I mean, we talked to him about that.
Right. But here's my speculation on one thing. So this is kind of talking behind his back, but I would say this to his face too, is I think that he has a different viewpoint on the police. So him not dressing up, I think, is his feelings about the authority with cops. I don't think he understands it's the respect of the court, which some people don't feel like they have to.
Yeah.
But you know what? I ain't trying to pay more money or serve extra time or do anything extra. So guess what? I'm going to play the game. And that's the problem, is that people don't want to play the game, which some people think, well, then I'm not being true to myself if I play the game. It's the same. We have a coworker.
Sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do in life.
Yes.
Whatever happened to that expression? I want to be true to myself. Well, that's your way of saying you want to just be a slob all the time or do whatever the hell you want to do. Sometimes you have to do the uncomfortable things in life because it's a means to the end.
Well, we have a coworker that he does not play the game here in the office. And he will joke about not being liked by corporate or not being liked in certain situations. And he's like, because I say what I want to say and whatever. And sometimes I want to be like, just shut up and play the game if you want to get ahead in this career.
This pisses me off. It's the same thing with our producer. And again, not talking bad about him, but there is a similarity here that I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And that is, you're going to blame everybody else if it doesn't go the way you want. I.e., if our producer, okay, a traffic ticket, you're probably fine with a polo shirt and Dickies, okay? If it was something a little bit heavier and you walked in without the respect and you don't get the result you want, what are you going to do? You're going to blame the court.
Yeah.
You're not going to sit there and go, I could have done something different. If it's a coworker and eventually they go, we're kind of sick and tired of hearing what you got to say, the way you say it, and you doing you, and we no longer want to work with you, they're not going to sit back and go, oh, that's on me. They're going to go, they were the ones that wouldn't listen to me. The lack of accountability is unacceptable. I'm sorry. And it's never going to advance you in life. Sometimes you have to sit there and take the uncomfortable, and it sucks, and nobody likes to be uncomfortable, but sometimes you have to do it. Ties right back to what I said. Sometimes you got to do something in life you don't necessarily want to do, but it's a necessity. If life was always what we wanted to be, we would be living in a utopian society with no poverty, no issues, no problems in the world, nothing whatsoever. That ain't reality, people.
But I also think that it's not like you have to follow the rules all the time. I'm not Miss Rule Follower, but if these rules aren't working for you, then, and now with our producer, it's the rules of life. It's the court,
He'll
it's
learn.
the cops.
He's young.
Well, also, I'm not going to say he needs to buck the system because then he's just going to end up in jail. But what I'm saying as far as the whole...
This has gone from 0 to 100.
I know.
Now our producer's in jail.
Right? But with our coworker, I sometimes want to say, well, then if you don't like these rules and you don't like this game, then you can work for yourself. You can do that because if you want to be true to yourself and you don't like how it's being operated here, and I don't like how everything's operated all the time. You don't like how everything's operated all the time. Well, no one does.
Nothing's perfect.
Right, no one does. But that makes me go, and I have a girlfriend who also, she's somebody who I think that authority doesn't really jive with her. And I think for her, she either needs to be the boss or she needs to be the entrepreneur and do her own thing.
Yeah. I mean, if it's the business world, you're probably right. Yeah.
Because I found that she has worked in a few jobs and I love her as a person, but I sometimes think, yeah, maybe I wouldn't want to work with her. I don't know if I could, because sometimes I drink the Kool-Aid probably more than I should.
Yeah, but at the
I
same time,
also like a paycheck.
I know you like a paycheck. I mean, look, if it is now speaking strictly with a business thing, if it is directly against your moral values,
oh, that's something different.
That's a totally different thing. But if you know, and I'm just using this example, and I'm not being nasty to the person. I don't want. I think highly of the individual that has been referenced, where he knows that sometimes he rubs some people at the corporate office the wrong way, the way he delivers the message. Why not adjust that a little bit? There's a way, a je ne sais quoi, if you will. Oh, look at that, huh? But okay. You have seen me. We're just going to take Scott for a second, okay? Allie has seen me. You work with someone 18 years, almost a daily basis. You have seen me at some of my best moments. You have seen me at some of my moments. You've been like, I don't know who this bastard is. But the majority
Not
of it
the
is,
best moments.
But the majority of it is, if you can deliver a message, it's all in the delivery. If you
a lot of it is.
If you deliver, if you're coming to the door, and you've got a pizza in hand that I ordered, and you ring the doorbell and you're like, here's your pizza, and you throw it at me, that's one delivery style. If you show up at the door and you go, hey, I've got your pizza for you, and a little bit of a smile, you're probably getting a better tip. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm using this as an analogy to get to the point of you can fix the problem. You're not wrong. Our coworker may not be wrong in the things he says, but it's the way things are said. You have to sometimes adapt to the people. I've always said this. Although I very much stand in my own kind of space, I get that. I have the ability to use a little bit of like a chameleon personality thing where I can normally read a person and try to adjust to a delivery or a style of communication they like. I try to do that. I'm not always perfect at it, and some people you'll just never be able to match. We used to have a GM. I thought I could match him and try to get him to, be comfortable and have an exchange. The guy just never ended up. That wall never came down.
I remember you like kissing butt at some point, and I'm just
like,
watching.
What do you want? Do you want me to kiss your ass, or do you want me to resist you? And ironically,
it was so uncomfortable.
You want to know the ironic part to that?
What?
The one final time where, after years of me attempting to, I knew
Kiss
in many
ass.
situations I wasn't wrong. I'm not necessarily I'm right, but I wasn't wrong, or, I was kind of being a punching bag for something. You know what I'm saying? I finally, one time towards the end of his time here, I snapped, and it took me years. The gentleman worked here for 7 years. It took me that long to get to the point where towards the end, I finally snapped and I said, enough. And then he respected me and spun and started, and it was different for the remaining, I'm going to go almost year that he remained, working here. There was a different relationship. I'm like, what the hell? You want me to push back on you from day one?
It's like a proving yourself type thing.
What is this BS? But I'm just saying, there is a way to do it. You're not becoming fake. You are essentially learning. You're reading the room. You're learning how people are going to react. I said, I'm not always perfect. You're good at it. You're very good at being able to pretty much read the room. You will a lot of times gravitate towards the people that you're most comfortable that respond to you in a certain way. But there's very few people in a room that don't respond to you well. And I mean that as a observer. Again, I've known you forever.
Yeah, I find like the one spot in their heart that I know that they'll open up with.
Sure.
But besides that, though, I think even when you're drinking the company Kool-Aid, I will sometimes drink it, because if you drink it long enough or follow the rules or play the game, do the dance, then you do get to make your own rules and you get to have your own voice.
To a degree, yes.
Right, yes. And that's where I think that it goes. Now, back to the court thing, though.
Oh, God, yes.
So the funny thing about our producer saying, well, I'm not dressing up for them, blah, 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 where I think that he is confusing respecting cops over court, which now, disrespecting cops seems to be, it's on the uptick. Let's just say
it's
that.
unfortunate.
I don't want to go there. But Scott
I'm not
gave
saying nobody in any industry. No industry has 100% perfect, employees. We get it. There's great cops. There's shit cops. Okay, we get it. I said it. There's good radio people. There's a lot of shit radio people. I'm somewhere in between. I admit it. Okay, full heart. But there is a difference between respecting the court, which is the ultimate authority and can change something in your life, versus a cop who you have an exchange with. And again, you're not always going to get out of a ticket. It really depends on what it is. Okay, and you can't totally control the mood. But being pleasant even to an officer of the law, I have found, has been better for me than not. I will freely admit this. Well over 10 years ago, I may have told this story not terribly long ago on either the show or the podcast, maybe 15 plus years ago. I got a cell phone ticket. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had the cell phone in my hand like this, not up to my ear driving. It was like this. It was on speaker. It was before we had like Apple, CarPlay and stuff and all that stuff. It was,
I know. I never know people who get cell phone tickets anymore.
Well, I had that, right? And the guy, it was a trooper, and he pulled me over. He goes, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And I knew I lost from the second that this happened. And I go, no. And he goes, "Oh, your cell phone? I clearly saw you had it like this." I knew, I played the wrong game. I should have been like, "I think you saw me handling my phone," but then of course you get to the point. I'm like, well, am I admitting guilt here or whatever?
Right. You're supposed to never admit guilt.
Well,
that's what I always heard.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. I mean, that one was dead to rights. But either way, I took my lumps. It was, it was what it was. I had to pay the fine. I had to deal with, okay. So that was that. Wore a suit to court. Sure as hell did. Left my cell phone in the car. But then I have to tell you the other funniest court thing. So I'm going to go with acquaintance of ours. I got to be careful on some of these because I don't want to blow them up. Another acquaintance of Allie's and mine that we've known for years might happen to have a few kids with different baby moms. Not scot-free.
Shocking.
Yeah, well, there's only 2 baby moms. So
that you know of.
Yes. So at any rate, he is well known by the baby moms of being the father.
And the court system.
And has visited the court many times, involved with his, shall we say, brood. And he told me something. He goes, never dress up for support court. I go, what?
Why?
And he goes, no, always go into support court looking haggard, because if you go in wearing a suit, they're going to take you for more money.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
There's some truth to that, though.
There might be. I don't know.
That's like the one time you don't dress up in court.
Yeah. You go, rip t-shirt, jeans, you're a mess.
After this conversation, I would love to actually talk to a judge. I used to take a spinning class with a judge. I'm going to have to talk to her and ask her if it's true. If we dress up, does it lighten the load, or does it have no effect whatsoever?
No matter what they say, I'm not going to change, because although, let me tell you get a judge on this podcast, I'd love to hear some of the stories, even if we have to change the names to protect the innocent and guilty.
I know.
Oh God, which they probably can't do, but it would be great to have.
Well, she's retired now. She's been retired for probably like 5 years or something.
Oh, then there's got to be ish she can spill.
I know. Okay, let me get a hold of her and I'll see if I'll come back to that full circle. Now,
but no matter what, let's say I'm the last person to walk in front of your bench at the end of the day. I want you to think of what most judges go through, unless it's a long trial where it's like one thing, you're dealing with a murder, then okay, you pretty much, but I've watched witnesses come in that I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm already not taking you at any sort of seriousness, because just the way you staggered in here, or the way you look all haggard, I'm not doing it.
When did it become the thing to not dress up for court? Because I thought that was something you always did. It was,
except support court, because you don't want to be paying more.
Right. It wasn't until I moved here and I was 23. So my first major ticket, actually I got a ticket when I was 16, but I think I mailed that one in. But my first ticket that actually showed up in court, I was 23. I was living here. Right out of the gate, I was getting tickets. And I was the only one dressed up. That was the first time I saw so much trash that it was shocking to me. So when did that ever change, that you don't dress up and respect the court?
I'll tell you who it is. I'll tell you the people that it is. It's the people that already are pissed at the court for some reason. The ones that, the people that go in with a level of respect to the court, and you don't have to be rich. I can let you get away with the polo and the nice pants. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I were a judge, I could let you get away with that. But you come in with a band T-shirt, or you look
grass stains,
or it looks like you just rolled in for a Sunday afternoon shopping spree at Walmart. Different story. You're telling me that you're already kind of ticked off at the court.
Yep.
And you've already are projecting the lack of respect, because this is what I was going to say. Even if I'm the last person to appear in front of a judge for the day, the last person, I think of the shit show they've gone through the early part of the day. Maybe not everybody, maybe a few, maybe one, maybe half, maybe 3/4 of the people. But if I come in, what a breath of fresh air. Wow. Somebody that actually has the respect to be able to do that. And you better let me off.
Yes. Now, tell me about, you went to an Amish auction?
Okay, so this was, long story short with this, we were going to go Father's Day weekend to the Amish auction in an area where, not far from where we live here, if you're listening from outside of the area, in Woodhall, New York. Big Amish area. Okay.
No, I talked to Zach about this yesterday, and that's what he'd asked me. He asked me if you went to the one in Woodhall, and I told him I didn't know.
No, mine was over in a part of New York State near Salamanca, which is on the way towards Buffalo.
You went all the way that way?
Well, you got to realize we were on the way to see my brother, my sister-in-law, my niece. She has a farm with her husband out in that direction. So we were going to try to get there for the Amish breakfast, which went till 10 in the morning. Apparently, lots of pancakes, lots of sausage. Like, I mean, I guess
and
the
body hair.
Yes. Well, that's where we're going. So, yeah. So, at any rate, we get to the Amish auction. Now, my brother and my niece and them, because I had to travel further, we were running a little bit behind. We were going to miss the breakfast. They were leaving to go back to the farm. I said, we're going to stop at the auction. We want to see it real quick and see what it's all about. We'll meet you back at the farm.
Okay.
Someday I'll tell you the snarky response my brother gave me for doing that, but that's not the part of the story.
Okay.
So, at any rate, we get to the Amish auction. Now, interestingly enough, yep, you're in the middle of nowhere, really are, and you're actually on a pretty big farm owned by one of the Amish folks.
Okay.
Like, this wasn't at a fairgrounds or something. This was like a really big farm that they've been doing this at for years. So you go in and you park, and of course, you're parking on what is a field and all that. You got cows over here, and there's sheep and horses over here.
Directing traffic.
Horse shit right in front of me, and it's always funny to watch an Amish direct traffic because,
not the sheep.
No, definitely, yeah. The Amish, or down there. Thank you, Mr. Yoder. I appreciate that.
Their accent.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, we get out and we're walking. The kids are with us. Now, I have to tell you.
Oh, you didn't leave them at home? Okay, great.
No, we're in the car. So we get out and we're walking up the field, after everybody parked there, and trudging through it to get up to the area where the Amish auction is. Now, we reached the point of the day, because this thing goes all day. We reached the point of the day where all the, they're like, you are a big fan of the fire department barbecue chickens.
Oh, my God. It's one of my favorites.
Well, I got to get an Amish barbecue chicken at some point. An Amish barbecue chicken.
Getting the accent already. I
got to get one because they were selling them for $6. They had pork platters you could get. I mean, the food was like going crazy. The breakfast was over, so now they were transitioning to the lunch. So that smell.
Work at 10:30 in the morning. Yummy.
Right. That smells really going. Now, one thing to keep in mind about the Amish, most Amish, it's not a technological society. I mean, you get a couple that might have a cell phone or,
but a couple hundred.
Most of them still live the life of, we don't have lights in the house. We don't, you know what I mean? So
we don't have lights in the house.
So, yeah, till it's dark. So at any rate, what's weird to have at an Amish auction, besides the fact you do feel like you're a little bit in an alien planet, all the blue shirts, the suspenders, the hats, the ladies with the bonnets. I mean, it's neat to interact with a different, sector of society that you wouldn't normally interact with, and different customs and things like that. So it's kind of neat to watch them walk around, and the little kids and all that stuff. what's weird is during the Amish auction, clearly there's got to be power somewhere because they had an auctioneer auctioning off like Amish things, like the chair, and you're hearing like,
it's that with the Amish accent, because I went to a produce auction once and that was exactly what was going on. I'm like, I'm sorry, was that tomatoes or potatoes?
And they're doing this, and I didn't know, I couldn't get close enough to the stage where the auctioning was going off because between the straw hats and everything else, I'm not going to fight my way. First of all, these sumbitches can erect a barn in 3 days.
Right.
I am not going to arm wrestle my way through an Amish like their pinky could go beak and I'm on the floor. You know what I mean?
Old people have strength, Amish strength.
It's unreal. So, as you hear in the background, so I'm setting the scene, you've got the smoke going over here for the barbecue chicken and and then they're all walking around and it's just neat to see.
Yeah.
Well, then we get to the Amish ice cream.
Ooh. Is it different?
Well, this is where I don't know that I can do it again. So I was told by 6059, my very sweet significant other, and she works with a lot of Amish, and she's been to one of the Amish auctions before, and she's raved over the Amish ice cream. The Amish ice cream.
Oh, okay.
Now, first of all, I have to tell you, you go to the tent, there's 2 varieties. You can have chocolate or vanilla. I mean, not a lot of difference here. And it is rich, okay?
Okay.
It is, this is straight out of the cow's udder rich, right?
Oh, nice.
So it is some rich
just
stuff.
Shake that cow a little bit, yeah.
Now, you have to think for a second, what does it take to make an Amish ice cream? Well, or an ice cream in general?
It's salt, ice, milk.
Yeah. And you got to keep it cold, right?
Oh, because they don't have the electric.
Well, they got generators. So here I am.
So then, okay, yeah.
So again, in the background, here, smoke going over here for the barbecue chicken. We're at the ice cream tent, and you hear, and you see 3 little Amish kids.
How's your ice cream?
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, that's it. Oh my God. So you got 3 little Amish kids that are younger than Lydia, who just turned 5, running the generator. I don't even know how to pull start. Oh yeah. I don't know how to pull start the sumbitch, right? They're over there doing that. They're dropping ice on the ground, the bags of it, putting it in here. So, forget about Nike making child labor sneakers. No, you got these Amish cranking out the ice cream, right?
Right.
It was good. Oh, it was okay. I'm not going to lie to you. Here's the thing.
Love it.
I kept thinking to myself, I'm going to get a bonnet hair in this, and it's going to be this long.
I wasn't thinking bonnet hair. I was thinking armpit hair because I was thinking of like when they churn butter and stuff, how there's that stick. And then
it comes out.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just assumed armpit hair, even though you never see any part of their body.
No, nothing. I was just expecting because it was so. Look. I come from a society here in New York State. There is an ice cream shop on every corner and a Dairy Queen in the market. So I could go to any given local ice cream shop and give me the Perry's, give me the Hershey. Right. It's what I was born and raised with.
Right.
This was the
Give me something that the health department has walked their way through.
One time. This is, and I'm not dogging it. I think you should, if you like it, go for it, this and that. This was also the square cut ice cream like you used to get at the ice cream social at the basement of the church, when it was time for that.
So cool.
So it was super rich. It was pretty good. The kids had a couple bites of it and passed their bowls on to us.
They didn't even like it?
They didn't like it. I think it was just like you could put actual real strawberries, or they had like a strawberry preserve if you wanted to doctor up your vanilla. But again, the kids are like, where's the Superman ice cream?
Can I tell you, I feel the same way. I feel so bad saying this, but Zach's family makes ice cream for like every function.
They make it.
Yes.
Okay.
And we just had it this past Saturday. It was we were celebrating Memorial Day on a Saturday with them, and there was 2 ice cream things going, and you're right, it's that exact noise. yes. So it's in the kitchen. You're like, how was Glass Fest? Okay. Oh my gosh. So then one of the ice cream makers goes down.
Oh, of course.
And it's super.
Out of gas in the generator, Mr. Yoder.
And it's super, super soft ice cream, which I don't like.
Yes, it is.
I do not like super soft ice cream. I don't like ice cream soup. My brother used to have it where it would melt. And honestly,
you drink it like a milkshake.
Yeah, I don't find it as flavorful.
No, it wasn't. Now, in comparison, I was recently at an event where they had what was it? Was it the Cuga Creamery? It was a creamery from one of the Finger Lakes here.
Leave it to the professionals, okay?
That's what it is. Theirs looked like ice cream. They had, you know what? They had salted caramel. They had some sort of blue cow. So it was all these things. And please understand, I don't think there's anything wrong with the Amish ice cream, except in my head, I kept thinking,
what's wrong is they stick to houses.
Well, that and yes, build me a barn. And I was waiting to pull out a lengthy hair.
I feel the same way. So the other day, my parents were in town. Me and my parents and Zach we have a place locally called Hokey Pokey's. And I got Coconut Joy. Scott, this was the best ice cream I've had in my life.
Interesting. Wow.
It was really coconutty, like so full of flavor.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. The best ice cream I've ever had in my life.
I'll take your word for it.
I have ate a lot of ice cream. And then the next day, we go to his parents.
I have ate a lot of ice cream, she says.
And the next day we go to his parents and I'm like,
oh, what a letdown.
Yes. Like if I'm going to eat ice cream, I want it to be banging. I want tons of moose tracks and I want tons of Oreos and I just want the whole kitchen sink in there.
Is it wrong that I'm not 100% processed ice cream, but I want the more ice creamy ice cream, you know?
Yeah, process it up.
Obviously, this is a society, and I'm certainly not going to offend the Amish. It's not like they're listening, unless you're on your smartphone.
All right, more chunks, less churn. Come on.
Man. But I'm sure for them, it's a very special treat. You know what I mean? I doubt.
Oh, you act like they don't get any special treats.
No, I don't think they do. I don't think it's that common. I think, you build a barn 6 days a week and take a bath on Saturday.
You know what sucks too? Because they don't drink, do they?
Except for that time, that period of their lives where they
Springer.
What?
Springer.
He died. Jerry Springer. What? Anyway, except for that period where they can go out and taste the world, if you will, and decide if you want to stay Amish.
Taste the world, because I know that, and this is just going back to them building barns and houses and all that other stuff, is just recently I was doing a bunch of yard work. I'm sweating. We're doing tons of work around the house. And at the very end of the day, a blue moon light with a little slice of orange is a little slice of heaven. Okay?
There's something after mowing the lawn that tastes real good. And if it's got a little percentage of by volume, it's better. By the way, you just totally hit another.
Wait, hold on. But so with the Amish people, they're done building a barn and they're like, whew, this H2O just...
Let's have some lemonade.
It's different. Oh, don't get me started on lemonade. I do love lemonade.
Yeah, but no, theirs is like straight lemon, no sugar. It's like puckering up here, Rebecca.
Why is it their lemon has all the flavor, their ice cream has none of the flavor?
Boy, you're not kidding.
Maybe they should go with some lemon sorbet. Let's be in the middle.
Put it in. Now, here's one other funny. And I didn't think about this till you just mentioned it.
What?
So it was not a chilly day the Saturday that we went to the Amish auction and then the farm.
Not a chilly day. Smelled it miles away. Got it.
No, here's the thing.
Oh, what?
Now, how do they do it? Not an ounce of perspiration. Like my armpits.
No.
Now they have the dark blue Amish shirts.
They're
okay,
hidden. It's hidden.
Well, how? What do you stuff in toilet paper? Do they even use toilet paper? What do you use? I don't even know. Is it a corn cob?
Family sock. Because I can tell you, Rebecca's undercarriage probably smells like trash.
I am never eating Amish ice cream again.
because anytime I go to Aldi, every time, like once a week, I go to Aldi and I'm always behind an Amish person. And yes, I want to be like, your baked goods are delicious, but you stink. You stink so bad.
But you smell it.
Are they using Tom's deodorant or no deodorant? Do Amish? I don't know. Do the Amish wear deodorant?
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
I don't know either.
But it was a wild experience. Now, look, I have to.
How could they even get it up if Rebecca's undercarriage smells like a trash yard?
They've all got 20 kids.
I know.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I get it. You're probably not wearing an Amish rubber.
I mean, I like it when Zach's got that little bit of stink when he's been doing some yard work. But if he's played hockey, when he came home from his hockey tournament, I'm like,
Zach puts the A in Amish.
Get away from me.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
How do they even? No. Okay.
I mean, nice group of people. By the way, apparently it's a prerequisite. You have a beard when you're married. The guys too.
Yeah.
But you have a beard when you're married. And apparently all of them have horrible vision. I have not seen one Amish.
Wait, they're building my house? Wait, this is a problem.
They all have glasses. I saw 5 Amish without glasses. And of course the kids don't have them yet, although some do.
Okay.
So 90% all have glasses. Not the most stylish layout you're looking at either. They all have glasses. They all have the blue shirts on. I'm like, I go to the store and I pretty much can pick my significant other out of a crowd.
Yeah.
Could you imagine like going to imagine in the Amish auction. It's a sea of blue shirts.
Right.
How do you tell? And then
you yell Rebecca and then 5 turn. So
we're looking for the owners.
That's why I don't call my mom. That's why I don't call my mom in public, because all the moms turn their heads.
Yeah, right.
So that's why I have to go, Gail.
I have to tell you another thing that happened. I forgot all about this.
What?
Directly across from the Amish ice cream station.
Uh-huh.
The Amish ice cream social, which not the most social bunch either. You want to talk about hanging around with 250 of the most socially awkward people. Hang out with the Amish for a day.
Right.
So directly across from that. Now, I told you it was kind of warm in the early part of the day.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there was a woman down on the ground. She had passed out. We don't know. There was a medical thing that had happened right across. Well, you say, but
I'm really feeling bad about this.
Well, yeah, but here's the problem.
What?
You're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, if you're having a cardiac event, I hope it wasn't that. But if you're having a cardiac event, maybe low blood sugar. I mean, we could have brought her some ice cream and solved that.
Yeah, right. Ice cream stat.
It was one of those ice creams where you're like, but so
I know this so well.
Oh my God. So now let me tell you what it's like. So imagine I've described to you the Amish auction. Chair sold from, smoke over there.
From the pork.
Now imagine all the Amish kind of doing a slow flock over to watch the person passed out. I want you to think about something. If you pass out in the parking lot of Walmart, everybody has a cell phone. They can easily get a hold of authorities to say, 911, come on by. We need you.
They're Paul Revering it.
Honest to God, I don't know how they got. It was a good 30 some minutes later before EMS showed up and got the person out of there. So,
now I need to know if they live.
I don't know, but
oh my God, this is terrible.
I have to tell you, this is great.
What?
I didn't know the Amish auction could piss off your average everyday person. So
was there a lot of like regular?
The regular folk. That sounds so bad. Like the Amish are irregular.
Well, no,
Let's
but
say
non-Amish. Yeah.
So,
NAs.
Yeah, the NAs. The NAs. So here I'm one of the NAs. So we're just,
obviously.
Yeah, we're visiting, and there's a lot of NAs there visiting with the Amish. This is the whole point. This is where they make some money. They sell molasses cookies. So, and ice cream.
Yeah. But why are the cookies so good?
Oh God, right? The cookies and the
so
pickles. Honest to God.
Oh yeah.
And clearly the chicken barbecue for $6, which all I could do was have a mouth watering. Anyway, but then I'm terrified I'm going to be plucking feathers. How do I know? It's not like the FDA's walking through here, right?
Right.
So then we're on our way. It's finally getting ready for us to leave the Amish auction, right? And, and we're walking by all the buggies and 6059 goes, look at that. That's the Cadillac of buggies over there. I'm like, well, how do you know this? She goes, remember, I work alongside the Amish. She does. She knows.
Yeah.
So, at any rate,
what does the Cadillac of buggies have? Does it have an extra cup holder?
It's got it's like a 4-seater cup holder. It's like a 4-seater.
I mean, we know the AC is included.
It's got a little handle you turn to get the cigarette lighter warmed up if you want to light up your Amish pipe. Oh, what? Do the Amish smoke pipe or something? I don't know.
I'm asking you.
Hey, by the way, side note before I tell you about the crazy guy at the Amish auction.
Yeah.
If you want to go to the one place on God's green earth where you're not going to smell marijuana, go to an Amish auction.
Oh.
I don't think they do the icky.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Even though they've got plenty of farmland to hide it.
Yeah, well, they do, but there was maybe that's the secret is you hide it, grow it, and get rid of it and don't smoke it.
Right. Don't get high on your own supply.
So there was a little bit of a traffic tie-up trying to get out. Not much of a tie-up. It was more like a couple buggies pulling out, and then a couple SUVs had to go.
Yes.
Well, clearly, this guy who was being directed by Mr. Yoder to go this way with his vehicle, which is always fun. Someone that's never driven a car or even really probably knows how all the mechanical parts of it work is sitting there giving directions. So he's like, oh no, this and that, and that's all you hear. You don't really hear the clear words, So that's how he's directing traffic out. Well, apparently,
I want to be like, do you even know what you're saying?
Nope. So apparently, the ladies that came with the gentleman in the SUV who was clearly getting frustrated and just wanted to pull out, I guess these ladies were not quick enough to get in the vehicle. So as you hear now, like turn left.
Yeah.
This guy had it.
Was turn left.
Yeah. This guy had it. He was like, oh, and just hammers the gas and blows past like two buggies. These two women that were standing there, and I think they were on their way to the back door of the SUV. Like you get the dust kick up and all that because you're on a dirt road. They were just like, whoo. Like,
they didn't chase him.
What? No. So I don't know if this guy pulled to the top of the long Amish driveway and he waited for him and he had just had enough. I kid you not. It was as much of an interesting experience it was a people watching experience I will never forget.
Oh my God, no. And I have to say that's a very risky thing to do, to just gun it with all the buggies and horses around. Because
this guy lost it.
Yeah, you don't want to scare the horses because then that could be another whole incident.
He was not having any more.
After
of
all
the Amish auction. Maybe he ate too much of the ice cream and started to get the dairy poops.
He was angry.
Oh.
Now, after you've done all this, would you go back or was it a one and done?
All right, I kind of want to see the one in Woodhull. I'm not going to lie. This was the one that was way out there. I kind of want to see the one here.
Okay.
I'm not eating the ice cream again. I don't.
No, but you should go to the produce auction in Penn Yan. That one's fun. Now
that I might do. I mean, who doesn't need 750,000 cucumbers?
Well, I bought a bunch of tomatoes and then canned salsa and spaghetti.
Good.
Yeah, spaghetti sauce. Well. The life that you're being exposed to is very interesting.
Let me wrap up the podcast in a little bit of Amish traffic directing, shall I?
Sure.
Well, that was fun. Wasn't that fun? That was fun. Do us a favor, will you? Subscribe. Share the Scott and Alley Not for Air podcast. Touch our buttons. We know you want to.